Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go! Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Come on, everybody, bring it in. Side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go.
All right, all right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul's not here yet. Let me deactivate that.
Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go. Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go.
How we doing?
Let's go, let's move side to side, let's go.
Yeah, Uncle Sam's got Paul by the balls for now, but he will be back soon. He did say 11:15-ish to his credit, so can't fully fault him at all. But I'm just going to sit here, chill, and talk to chat for a bit. Don't want to bring anybody in, but Paul and I got a lot to talk about tonight, so I want to save almost everything for him. Gonna be a lot of shit to cover. This is probably gonna be one of the heavier episodes in a while. Obviously, Paul's gonna shit on me for the TSM shit and 100 Thieves stuff, but there's a very, very serious discussion to have around the esports winter. And what's funny is, I'll talk about this separately because Paul and I can talk about our own thing. But tonight I went to an esports mixer in New York City. I talked to a bunch of people that were involved in like general gaming. That was like not obviously directly esports related. There were some people who have work in esports. There were people that did like market analytics and stuff for Team Liquid and a company called YouGov. But for the most part, like in terms of direct esports work, like people that work for teams, obviously not much. Well. Uncle Sam finally decided to release the grip that he had on your balls, and you are finally here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel like this should be a 4th place and up
Oh,
podcast today,
shut the
right?
fuck up. We're not starting with this bullshit already. You have one good week. I'm sorry, 2 if you count the first one over beating, bullshit teams. We'll see where you sit at
Hey,
the end of the season.
you said 2 weeks ago your tune was that's what you got to do when you play bad teams. You got to beat the bad teams, and then you gotta compete with the good teams.
Yeah, and
That's
guess
what
who
Dave
you
was
lost?
saying.
Yeah, exactly, and you lost to us, so you're a bad team.
Yeah, until we all of a sudden beat the number 1 team in the league.
We play them on Thursday, and Ayla's coming in. We'll be fine. What happens when we beat FlyQuest?
You believe that? You believe
Yes,
that?
yes, I do. If you guys can beat FlyQuest, we can beat FlyQuest. I'm sorry, but no. If you guys can beat them, they are beatable in general. I refuse to believe anything otherwise. Don't even try.
You say you guys beat them, they're beatable. They're only beatable because of us. We're the only ones to have beaten them.
Yeah, which means that we were overvaluing them in the first place. If they could lose to you.
Well, I'm going to list off some teams they beat, and you tell me how bad these teams are. E.g., Cloud9, you guys, Golden Guardians,
Oh, are you talking FlyQuest or TSM? I was
FlyQuest.
gonna say TSM did not
All
beat
teams
C9
that
and
FlyQuest
EG
beat. All teams that FlyQuest beat.
I mean, look, I'm not denying that FlyQuest is good. I'm just saying they're beatable.
It's fine.
They are.
I mean, that's a common 5th place opinion.
Okay.
I'm the Giga Chad 4th place and up opinion.
Did you see the bet that I took with Arsh?
I like your bet a lot. I like yours.
I don't see a world where Golden Guardians retains this form. Like, people are high on them for what, one really good week? It's amazing.
I don't.
It is amazing how much public perception can swing in a week.
I don't really understand how 6A playing well for a week has made people decide that he's an MSI form from 4 years ago. I don't really get why that happened. And I mean, good for them that they think that. But I mean, if we're going off of old form stuff, then I'm about to start saying, hey, Flash was, I guess we just won it all because our mid laner has absolutely been curb stomping minor major regions for a while now. So this will be easy.
Like, that's the thing. If people are giving
Pretty
Golden
simple.
Guardians credit, they also have to give TSM credit. And if they're not willing to do so, which most people aren't, then it's like, no, then you're riding the high. I'm sorry, but like,
Yeah, because it's also like, who did Golden Guardians beat this weekend?
Let me check. 100 Thieves being one of them.
I know it was TSM was one of them. So 100 Thieves, TSM, and who was their third one? Dig, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like, we're... Yep, that's who they beat. TSM, Dig, and 100 Thieves.
So
like
a slumping 100 Thieves that we look lost to everybody.
Yeah.
Dignitas, who hasn't had a win yet.
And a coin flip team. Like, essentially, for being honest.
Yeah.
We've just happened to get more heads than tails.
Yep.
If you want to, like,
and I mean,
summarize
the thing is, like, your guys' week wasn't even that great either. Like, you guys went 1-2. You lost a Golden Guardians.
No, we went 2-1. We beat Dig and FlyQuest.
Sorry, 2-1. You picked on the first grader. Okay, cool. You did your job that you're supposed to do. You lost the Golden Guardians, and then you beat FlyQuest. So like the FlyQuest.
We beat the first place undisputed team. We didn't just beat FlyQuest. The way you keep saying it, like they're just a bunch of nobodies.
I
Or
mean,
how about we word it? We beat a 7-0 team who
fair,
is now 8-1.
fair.
Might I remind everyone?
You're not wrong.
But I will say, like, I just don't understand, like, how people are getting so scammed.
By
But
Golden
like
Guardians.
your bet is like the perfect definition of two. Like to me, this scam. Like they literally sat here, went okay. They beat 100 Thieves when 100 Thieves literally got beat by everybody this weekend. And honestly, you guys look cursed. Like it looked like you guys were tilted.
Yeah,
So it was just
like
a bad
something
weekend.
went bad with scrims or like
Yep.
it was a shit week all around.
And
And it's
then
like,
they beat like literally one of the worst teams we've ever seen at this point. Like, not a single win through the first half. Like, this team is terrible. And they beat TSM, who had a good weekend, but like, TSM's beatable. It's not like they beat an undisputed team in that whole run. You know what I mean? We're like definitely a beatable team. And then everyone's getting off to the fact that like they're fourth place on tiebreaker because they beat TSM. And it's like, yeah, but do you really think they're gonna be top four by the end of the split?
yeah. And like the way the
Like,
playoff bracket works too is like if they finish 5th, 6th, it's a single series for them against one of the top teams.
yep,
Like, I don't see them finishing 4th in any world. Like
not really.
it is Cloud9, it is FlyQuest, it is EG, and then you could make. Let me pull up the standings.
From there, it's now a crapshoot. You guys made it a crapshoot.
Yeah, it's technically a crapshoot, but I don't see a world where Golden Guardians gets it over 100 Thieves, CLG, or TL. I am expecting TL to come around still. I
Yeah,
know people
and
are
like,
down on them, but
and you could, if you're a TSM fan, you can just make the really easy excuse like we didn't ban Zeri. We've had a ton of issues against Zeri all year. Like, so it's not a loss where I was like, oh man, I can't believe this happened.
yeah.
And then we banned Zeri 2 games in a row and we beat it. So like we win 2 games in a row. Like I don't know. Like I know people can say that's an excuse, but it's no different than them saying, oh, we just got our starting mid laner and blah blah blah. It's like good for you. Like we happen to have problems against one champion and our bottom lane seems to put it together when they're not playing one champion in the game. I have no idea why we get absolutely cucked by it, but we do.
Yeah.
But I
As
do think Golden Gardens is good though. I just don't think they're like I don't know.
no, I
I
think
don't
they're
understand the
overhyped.
people saying that they're gonna win playoffs and they're a
Yeah,
dark horse.
like that's the thing is like sure, like and that's why I conceded like I was a little bit, over the top with my original tweet that they're not going to make playoffs. There's a very clear world where they do and slot
Mhm.
in 5th, 6th. I'm not going to contest that. But there's no world where I see them winning a series again or even taking 2 games in a series against any of the top teams at all. If they luck out and get a good matchup, sure. But I don't see it. And everybody's saying they're a lock for top 4. They're 1 game ahead of 100 Thieves. 1 game. It takes the next Super Week comes, we 3-0, they 0-3, which could very well happen. And all of a
Mhm.
sudden, this is a different story. And they're struggling to make playoffs. It's like, come on. Let's not overreact to a single week. I'm not panicking as a 100 Thieves fan. Golden Guardian shouldn't be massively celebrating. FlyQuest shouldn't be, burning bridges because they lost a single game. Like, they'll be fine. FlyQuest, and as Rico said, FlyQuest now has Ayla, which might take a little bit of time to adjust, but I think it's going to be better for them long term. Cloud9
Yep.
now has MNS, which, oh, I don't think we're ready for that.
I think he's really good. It definitely depends how the first few games go though. Like
I think him and Blabber are just going to be good together. I really do. When you
I
have
do
that
too.
unspoken synergy, like regardless of whether he plays mechanically well or not, if he gels well with Blabber, oh, I think it's done. Like C9 was my early favorites, and they're still my favorites if MNS pops off.
Don't worry, we'll humble them
Yo, okay.
Friday. Don't worry.
Golden Guardians plays C9 and EG this week.
C9 and EG.
Yeah.
That literally, yeah. What Khan said is so true. That's literally called a reality check.
What I can't wait for is when Golden Guardians, if they go 0-2, I can't wait for all the dick riders to just come out and be like, well, we lost to the 2 top teams in the league. It's understandable. Like, that shit's going to happen. It's going to be like,
Yep.
You're saying they're a top 4 team.
Top 4 teams, yeah. Top 4 teams
Top 4 teams make those games
hold their
competitive.
own.
Like,
Yeah, they hold their
if
own.
these games are close, then sure, I'm willing to admit that they stand a chance at winning this bet. But beyond that, not willing to give it.
Yeah, I'm not sold on them either too much. I think like if anything Super Week just kind of said like I don't know, it kind of just pushed to me that 100 Thieves learned essentially, and this isn't like I'm not even being rude. Like essentially you guys learned this week you are one of us, whether you want to be or not.
For now, at least,
You've
yeah.
Yeah, you've come back down to earth and welcome. It's no fun down here, I know. Expectations aren't fun anymore. And then
to be fair, I'm still very much high on it, but we'll get into that in a minute.
yeah, but like now you're high. You being high on them is like me being high on TSM.
I
Like
don't.
people
I don't
are
agree.
gonna stand there. Well, yeah, you won't agree, but that's what I'm saying is like you can be high on them, but I'm gonna look at you from across the room and go, you don't think you're me, but you're closer to me than you are to him.
No, yeah, no, I agree.
That's
I
how it's happened.
I
Yeah.
agree with you, but my theory behind this is, and all credit to the 100 Talk guys. They were the ones that kind of talked through this. Our clear win con has kind of eroded down to like double if we'll carry the game for us, which has been a very reliable way to win the game. But when
Yep.
other teams are able to spot that out, and all they do is just heavily camp bot lane and just never let that win con become a thing, at some point somebody else needs to step up. And now that we've recognized that teams are going to do that against us, and they very clearly are until we show that we can carry elsewhere, like now is when it's time for Bjergsen and Tenacity to finally start showing up. And for Tenacity, like he's been playing a lot of picks. He played like the Gragas and all of these other and a lot of other kind of support champions like Ornn as well. It's like put him on a carry. It's time. Like let Tenacity help carry the game. The reason why the FlyQuest game was even somewhat close was because Tenacity was in a position to try and help win us the game. Yes, he did not pull through, but he's a fucking rookie. He's less than 9 games into a split. I'm not sitting here panicking because he didn't carry his first game against freaking Impact. Like, why would I panic on that? Just give him time. He's a rookie. He'll be fine.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys, if anything, Bjerg should be the supportive player. If you look at the roster as a whole, you should be putting him on his supportive champs. Like, making people ban your niche pick like Zillion does nothing to hurt your team. So you might as well just keep picking Zillion until someone either A, figures out how to stop you, or B, has to ban it, and you make them waste a ban. It doesn't hurt you to do that, and you can do that all day, essentially. Now, I don't know what else you put him on, but he has clearly not been working. Yeah, that's another good one. Like
Galio, Azir, like something that he can just be more supportive because he is not the carry player anymore.
Of old, no. It's kind of sad. Like him and Jensen just do not look good right now. like watching them as the older players. I know Jensen had a CS lead most of the TSM game, but that was kind of just like one of those it is what it is type things. Like they're letting you get that because they legitimately think it's worthless on you type of things. And when teams are doing that, it's just sad to watch the disrespect that they're playing with against these two players. Like they used to be so good. And when you're watching them kind of just not do anything for 30 minutes a game, it's rough. I don't know. It's kind of sad.
It
It's
sucks,
also funny
but
because like the whole crowd that I mean me included that was worried about double lift, we didn't realize who we should be worried about.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, Doublelift has been
Yeah,
good. Doublelift has been smashing. Like, you
he has been.
if you isolate his laning phase, he
Hmm.
hasn't lost lane against anybody yet. Like the Stix A lane was tough because they traded the kill and Stix A stayed alive versus Doublelift dying
Hmm.
in the 1-for-1 trade, which then just set Caitlyn ahead, and then she was just able to kind of snowball it from there. But even then, it's like Doublelift has not lost a lane yet due to his own accord. The lane that they lost
Oh
with
yeah.
Zyra Khan, Busio was like weirdly uh, playing out a few times and just wasn't positioning right. Now, yes, Doublelift had one where he was like really pushed up, but he's still consistently getting these leads and doing the things in lane that he used to do of old.
Mhm.
Granted, it's not translating to mid to late game team fights, but I don't think that's necessarily fully on him.
Yeah, and I really don't think like that. That's kind of I want to say scary in some ways for 100 Thieves. I think this is like the worst of the two. I think if you were 100 Thieves, you were more hoping that Bjergsen would be the good one of the two veterans
Yeah.
because they at least had a plan for if Double have sucked. Like you had Unforgiven, you
Yep.
had a idea of what you were gonna do. There is no real pivot right now for Bjergsen.
No.
Like there is not and there's not even a free agent to pivot to like
No.
that I can think of right now, unless you just absolutely blow my mind and go grab uh Doomby out of retirement. Like
Nah, he just had his baby with his wife.
yeah, yeah, I don't see him coming to America after that, but
Maybe
who knows?
humanoids out of Fnatic comes the 100th Thieves.
You
I don't
think
know.
that
No,
happens?
no,
Why
and
would they drop humanoid?
I don't. I look. I don't know, but they already dropped Wonder and Rux. So
Okay, this is off topic, but do you care if we talk about the fact how crazy it is that LEC teams are cutting players in Winter Split?
I don't think it's crazy at all. I
Like
think it.
some of the cuts though are wild to me. Like Astralis cutting Dehor.
I mean, look, I'm used to this with Call of Duty, where it's like after a single bad event, you just like swap the roster. Like it's time to
That's
to
wild.
reinvent it. It's normal for me, but I as long as they are being replaced with like newer players coming in and not just getting like recycled veterans, I'm fine with it. Because if they're gonna be ninth or 10th
Fair.
place and they
Hmm.
like it is already blatantly apparent in scrims that they're not gonna develop, I'd rather them make changes and give other players chances than sit there for an entire year and have a shit roster that we get to make fun of for 9 games and then forget about again. At least now, if rookies go in or if like younger players from the ERLs go in, like it's a talking point. And then if they make top 8, then it's like, okay, well now we get to watch them in a best of 3 and like
That is fair.
see how it goes. It's gonna actually push the talent pool to recycle old talent quicker, especially if that old talent is at the bottom. Now, if your new talent is sitting down there, then hey, the current pros as they are good, and the AMs need to step up.
Yeah, I guess I just hated it because I saw Leader was coming back for
Yeah,
like the
I
third
hate that.
time.
I hate that.
And I
That,
was
but
like,
that's the move that I hate. I
but you
don't
made a
want
good
that.
point. Yeah, you specifically did say like new players. That's a good point. Like new players would be interesting. But when I think I just read Leader and I was like, okay. I was like, we're really doing this for the 8th time and seeing how this goes. But
But like, imagine a
it
world where Fnatic
yeah.
says fuck it, we're nuking the entire and the head coach is gone as well, by the way. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah. Uh,
Oh,
so like Fnatic nukes it all and says, "Fuck it, we're going reckless and 4 rookies. Fuck everybody."
how do
And
they
then
keep him?
and then they come in, and all of a sudden they make top 4 and are like actually jockeying for like
Hmm.
a spot further up, and like are actually making a name for themselves and just click insanely well. That's a storyline that we would not have gotten otherwise. Imagine Fnatic with that like new roster somehow makes it to finals weekend and is actually like contending for a spot to make it to MSI. But because of their poor performance in winter, the only way that they make it is if they win the split. That'd be nuts. That'd be an insane storyline that literally everybody would want to follow.
That would be cool, but give me that with humanoid.
Sure, with humanoid, with I don't care who you do it
Yeah.
with. It's just
No,
like
I
the
just
general.
meant like if they did that with humanoid, that would be awesome. Like, could you imagine like because humanoid's actually like no offense, I know you like the player a lot, but humanoid's actually good.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
gonna
better.
put that
He's
out
better
there.
than Reckless. I'm not denying that, but I think
Yeah,
mid
I feel
jungle
bad for
synergy
him.
is a problem. I think it's Razork more than humanoid, but
Yeah, I think if you're Fnatic and you got rid of Wonder and you're looking at Reckless and Razork, I think you're sitting there and you're going, this shouldn't be too hard. This really shouldn't hurt too bad.
it
And
also
you just rip that
depends.
band-aid off.
It also depends on who they're bringing up instead. Like
True.
I know nothing about the LFL or like any of the other European leagues. There might be a ton of top lane talent that has yet to come in, and a bunch of support talent that they can replace Rux with, but there might not be as many big name ADCs. I mean,
Moose Tater or
Jacksepticeye
bust.
just Moose Hater. That'd be great if Moose Hater got a chance in the LEC just randomly for Fnatic. I mean, he's not, but
Wouldn't it though?
oh
I'm
man,
really on the Moose Hater hype train. I'm not
I
gonna lie.
I have not gotten to watch any of his games at all. Is he actually
I
like
love
that
him.
good, or is it just troll?
It's a little both.
Okay,
He's still good. He's not bad. It's just like the memes are a lot funnier than
yeah.
that I think he's actually going to change the world.
Well, I saw him get mentioned in the LEC, and I was like, no way that this guy is getting mentioned on the global stage because of his Garen. That's nuts. That is
I mean,
insane.
he's pretty funny. Like one, I think it helps he's funny on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like if he wasn't good at eating the jokes on Twitter, it wouldn't be as good.
No.
And it is kind of hilarious that he's like the tweet they made. Who was it? I think it was Dom and Forest Within who like kept playing off each other, putting like, can you imagine making 60,000 a year just to get whooped on by Moose Hater for a couple McChickens? Like a man's just doing this for free.
Oh my god.
But
Ugh.
to come back to LCS, because my bad, I just wanted to
No,
touch
you're
on that
good. You're good.
because it hit me because I was on Twitter today and I was like, bro, they're really like revamping entire rosters on Winter Split.
Well,
But
the insane thing is that Winter Split ends this week.
mhm.
That's
And
nuts.
G2 Caps Loki.
Caps looks
Caps
good
just keeps making a name for why he's the best ever in the
in the
East
West.
or West, my
Yeah,
bad.
no,
In the West.
hands down, he's the best. Perks, it brought me so much happiness to see Vitality crash and burn again.
I like Bo a lot though.
I do,
Bo's the
but like,
truth.
how does this roster just every time collapse?
Perks just isn't very. I don't want to say it like that, but he just isn't very good anymore, man.
No, he's a good leader. That's the thing. Like
Yep.
his macro understanding of the game is phenomenal, and I wish he would go into coaching. But
Yep. I
like
was gonna say the same thing.
I feel like he's gonna make an incredible coach at
He
some
will.
point in time. He just has that brain for the game that is just gonna help propel things further. But his mechanical prowess
Hmm.
is just slipping. And it sucks to see.
Well, he got married, so
Yeah. Although I did enjoy all the stories that came out of their
sneaks
wedding.
first. Yeah, their wedding was really cute. Like on Twitter, seeing everything.
Seeing
But I
all
just mean
the
getting. I mean, we know
yeah,
makes the hands slower.
it does.
Doesn't add anything to the hands.
You have to take away some of the attention from the game to turn around, see what's going on. Do they like
Yep.
they want cuddles now, but like gotta wait.
Like, Doomby honestly deserves a Hall of Fame spot just for winning with a wife.
I wouldn't go that far. Now, if Doingby comes back and wins after having a kid, uh,
That'd be hilarious.
bro, I just need a bunch of pro players though to start having kids. So then we could like start hyping up the next generation of talent that's gonna come from the kids.
Oh my gosh.
Because like in here's the thing, in the LCK and the LPL, that's actually gonna be a thing. Like
I mean, probably.
they will be like the next generation of players. NA and EU maybe not so much.
Can you imagine in 18 years, like, Ryu, not Ryu, Uzi's kid, like just curb stomping everybody
I don't even
on
want to say.
Vayne too.
It's gonna be the most disgusting Vayne player of all time. Like, cause you know
Yep.
that kid's gonna be like, my dad was good, but I can be better. I'm
Yep.
gonna shit on my dad with his own champ. Like learns all the mechanics of Vayne. Just like sits
Wins
there
a
and does
world's title just because finish the job.
wins worlds and immediately he's like, nah, I'm not done yet. Calls his dad up on stage. He's like, I need to beat you in a Vayne 1v1 in front of everybody now to show that I'm the best.
Yeah.
Uzi comes out in his wheelchair because he's just crippled at that point and can barely operate his wrist, but just has like enough to like go on the keyboard and like barely work. And it comes down to like the last auto. And like the world's trophy means nothing at this point, but Uzi's kid is just sitting there crying, sobbing that he won the most important 1v1 matchup of his life. Worlds is irrelevant. Beating my dad, that's all that ever fucking mattered.
It'd be so much better if he popped his wrists and won, though. If Uzi won, like, has to pull him out, just goes, and then just starts going and wins. I've ripped him back into place.
Like popping your shoulder back.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
That's gonna be a great timeline.
that is but back to LCS, because we did kind of leave them on a bad note. And I feel
We
bad
did.
the
Yeah,
way
no,
we
I agree.
started with Golden Guardians. I'm gonna say, like, I will say, regardless of how I feel that they could be overhyped, actually River and Gory are pretty fun to
Oh
watch.
my god, yeah, they are
Like,
phenomenal to watch.
seeing River with a real mid laner has been really cool. Like, that was one thing I noticed of the two fourth place teams, like with TSM and them. Like, we saw a lot this weekend of Gory and River like propping up and being extremely useful and looking great. And then I actually finally saw Boogie do things that made me go, okay, there's some like life here. Like the Golden Guardians game, he had me worried because I'm on the fence of him. I don't hate Boogie in any way. I'm just on the fence of him because I don't know what to think. He gets really nervous, and nerves can kind of destroy a guy sometimes. And there was a play in Golden Guardians on Wukong where he like flashes and presses R on nothing because he panicked
No.
instead of flashing and like knocking up the two that you could clearly tell where he was trying to go,
Yep.
and he just hit nothing. And it was just like, dang, okay, like we lost this game because he just really boofed that. And then all of a sudden, next game, he's just curb stomping the best team in the league on Elise. And I was like, okay, maybe he's actually the GOAT, and I'm an idiot. And then he played Sejuani really well. And I was like, all right, We have a actual can change his roll up, kind of good jungler. That made me feel good. And on GGS, you have River who's playing basically anything he wants, and Gory who's kind of actually a dog. That dude has some insane talent.
That's the thing. Like I think of the mess in the middle, I think Golden Guardians is by far and away like the best mid jungle. I think the
Yeah.
weakest top lane out of I think Licorice compared to Tenacity and Solo and Dokla is just not the best. And bot lane, we'll see how that goes. But I think of those four, I think you still have to put 100 Thieves bot first. Like
Oh yeah.
even though they might not be winning games, and Busio might look shaky at times as him and Doublelift try and get their synergy down, they still look the best. Like there's a reason why everybody's banning 3 champions first round against Doublelift, and they're
Yep.
camping bot. Like it's for a reason. Like sure, yeah, they might not be getting the best results from it this week, but that attention's going there for a reason.
And I mean, if you're trying to beat 100 Thieves, not just in game, but you're trying to destroy them, as a team. I mean, we all kind of know you put the most attention on Double Lift and you beat his team over and over again. You can drag out his toxicity
Yeah.
and
And
essentially get him to self implode.
the thing is, like, if I want to beat TSM, I do the same thing. I think you camp bot lane.
Oh yeah,
And just absolutely curb stomp bot lane and then just snowball it from there. I think that's your easy way to beat TSM.
yeah, because our bot lane also just sucks, so
Yeah.
camping him isn't too hard.
Golden Guardians, I feel like you just have to find you need to match the aggression from Gory and River. If you can
Yep.
do that, you'll be fine. Because 6A, I think any bot lane can keep up with them. Like even though 6A is playing well, you should be able to keep up with them there. And then Licorice, obviously, in top lane. Like, if you have a top laner that can carry, like Tenacity, like Impact or Fudge, then yeah, put some attention top lane, send some jungle attention there, and you're fine.
Yep.
But I'm curious, what's your thoughts on Closer?
I think he's fine. I think he's struggling to fit into the. Like we've said before, I think he does better when your top laner and mid laner are aggressive. He needs space to work. And right now we're just watching him without space. And he's kind of like a Spica in that sense. Like Spica does not look good at all when he doesn't have space. And now we're seeing Spica on a team that gives him room to play what he wants and go where he wants. And that helps a lot. I think if Closer was on that team, he would look the same. Which you and I already talked about a lot before the season started. We kind of talked about how Closer and Spica are kind of like the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
You put something in their hands, you need a play, you have them do it. They'll make a play. If you
with the
want,
exception of the J4 gank.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But you want them to do something that gets them to at least make something happen. They'll do it. And jungle in general is that way. At least in LCS, it's kind of a thing that plagues our junglers. If you look at Blabber, if C9 doesn't have good lanes, Blabber just kind of looks lost. That's why at a lot of worlds he gets killed a lot because he's playing on a team that all of a sudden doesn't have push and he doesn't know what to do. And it happens. It's kind of just an LCS thing. Our junglers without good lanes and good pressure just aren't really the best from behind.
Yeah.
And they're not really
Completely agree.
scalers.
The only one but he's not even LCS, is Inspired.
Yep.
He's the only one that I have
That's
faith
true.
to come from behind, but he's molded in EU, so he's more used to those comeback games.
Yep.
It's
Taking your
not
time.
down. Yeah, it's not down and out until it's officially over type thing.
Yep. It is a very weird niche LCS thing. Our junglers just seem to fall apart really quick. But I don't know. I don't think it's a terrible thing though, because it leads to at least interesting games. That is the one thing I enjoy about LCS.
True. I think LCS might be the most entertaining region to watch right now in terms of the games and the broadcasts combined.
Yeah, the constant fighting is hilarious. Lately we've had a lot of fighting, at least from the games I've been watching, and I've enjoyed it a lot. It's to the point where you don't want to turn it off. Like I've been liking LEC for that too lately. Maybe it's just G2 though. G2 is like
Yeah,
so
I think
uber
it's more of
aggressive,
a
disgusting.
it's a G2 thing because the problem I have with the LEC though is like this being finals weekend and it just being another weekend in the studio really annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah,
It feels so lackluster.
it does.
The winner of Sunday series is going to MSI, and only
Yeah.
140 people in the LEC studio are gonna see that happen. That's so bad, so bad.
This is kind of like a back-to-back week of LEC and LCS missing on a what is it, advertising style? Like, cause LCS last week, bro, the amount of unironic tweets, like I didn't even know it was Super Week. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I learned it from a joke tweet on Twitter that said, "Just in case you don't know, it's a Super Week," and that's literally how I learned it. I saw one of those joke tweets and I went, "Oh shoot!" And I was like, "I need to watch LCS."
The thing is, like, I don't know what more they could have done for that because they mentioned it several times on broadcast.
They do.
They put it
That's
out in
true.
all of their content. It's like, it,
Actually, you're right. It might have been a hit. Like the tweets were working.
yeah. Like I don't know what else like you could do. Sure, you can put out YouTube ads, but even then, it's like,
Mhm.
I I think you're going above and beyond at that point that it's not even worth it. It's like,
Yeah, it's kind of my fault too, because not like I'm saying I should, like I'm saying, oh, my fault, like bad. Like more
yeah,
like I'm busy, and I was busy, and you happen to miss things when you're busy.
yeah,
But yeah, the more egregious one for sure is any finals ever, especially when LFL is finding ways to sell things out, and
exactly.
you can't put two and two together. Kind of looks awkward.
That's what I don't understand here. Is like, I get the claims. Oh, the schedule changed. We did all these things. It's like K Corp is putting on consistent events in
Yeah.
arenas. Like, there's no way that you couldn't just be like, hey, let's go to France twice.
Hmm.
Let's just pick anywhere. Pick literally anywhere. It will sell out. Make tickets $5 a piece. That's it. That's all you need to do. It will sell out in a heartbeat. And then you can have all your merch and sponsors on top of that. Like, yeah, the first one might not be all that profitable because you didn't think this one through and plan it out. But like, come on, there's no excuse to only have one road show a year. I'm sorry. That's bad. It's really
Yeah,
bad.
I agree. And it's like kind of insane that Team Heretics, or not Team Heretics, Koi is having less exposure,
Yep.
like from this. I mean, that kind of blows my mind in a way that Koi was getting more in-person customer exposure by doing their own events than by joining the LEC so far.
Yeah.
Like that's terrible. All that money they paid to get in, and they're getting less in-person people. Like
Okay.
that's crazy.
Now's a good time to transition to this topic then because we're starting to hit on esports as a whole. Like,
Hmm.
in relation to this and people getting money and people not getting, like, for those that don't know or those that might be watching us on VOD, the Guard, which is one of the bigger orgs, at least in North America, that were in Valorant, that were in Call of Duty with the Los Angeles Guerrillas, were in Overwatch, we're in one other esport. Just announced that they're laying off practically all of their staff, barring the teams themselves and the corporate higher ups, and are basically going to be closing up shop soon. That's what it translates to. So the esports winter is officially here. And Paul and I talked a little bit in it about this in DMs, and we will definitely get into it over the next 20 minutes. But like, there is so much, I guess, just missed opportunity, not even missed opportunity, wrongful thinking about the esports industry and how all of this should operate that it blows my mind. The fact that K Corp is getting less exposure than when they had in-person events should tell you all that you need to know. Those in-person events are important. You need
Yep.
to drive value. You need to do things that will make long-standing impacts. And signing another fucking sponsorship with a company, and I keep railing on them, and I feel really bad for this, but like SIG Susquehanna, can anybody here tell me what that is?
What'd you say?
SIG Susquehanna. I may not even be using that acronym right. They're a sponsor of Dignitas. No, they're a finance company. They're basically I don't know if they're a bank, but like, who the fuck are they selling that to? I get Dig's taking the money because Dig needs any bit of money that they can get, but like, are you Googling SIG Susquehanna?
Yeah. What is this?
What Dignitas fan is gonna sign up for that?
Bruh.
We're looking at it now and we don't even know what it is.
About trading. Oh. They do quantitative trading, bro.
Jesus Christ. And yeah, it is a Pennsylvania region thing because I grew up on the Susquehanna River. So the only reason that this brand stuck out to me is because I knew the name of the river because it's in my hometown.
They're institutional brokerage. So you can open a brokerage account. Bro, they're an investing company. Like an old investing company.
Okay.
And they'll teach you how to do it?
Please tell me how Dignitas is going to make that a worthwhile partnership that will last long term for them.
Okay, low key, this brand though could be playing this right. They're trying to get into gaming. So they're trying to get gamers to start investing. Maybe. I can see where the brand is coming from. You know what I mean? I can see what they're trying to do, but I fully understand what you're saying.
But if you're Dig, like, do you really think you're going to be able to get your people to... Wait, what?
Oh, no.
What?
They teach you how to do poker better. Never mind. This is a scam, bro.
Wait, what?
They teach you how to play poker profitably. They literally have a thing about how to play poker profitably. I'm pretty sure this is a scam, bro.
Oh my god.
You can't trade on it. They teach you how to trade. That's it.
So it's just a platform to teach you how to trade money.
Yeah, they teach you because it was my bad. They teach you derivative strategy through
there's no way
options.
even a fourth of the Dignitas fan base knows what a derivative is.
No. I mean, I would enjoy this company, but I would not. They want me to pay them money to learn how to do it. Bro, they want you to go on their campus. I'm not going to their campus to learn how to trade.
But
I'll do it from my room.
Again, like, how is this beneficial to us? And then Dignitas taking this deal. Sure, you get some short-term money. Are you really that short on sponsors that you're willing to take anything at this point? Spend less.
If you're them.
Spend less. You're not solving a problem. Like, this is not going to help you long term in any way. You're not developing something sustainable here. This is the part that I don't get is like, we have a very clear revenue problem in esports. We have taken venture capitalist money for years, and they are eventually going to want that money back. So we had to use that money to help fund ventures that would turn a profit. And what the fuck what have we done with that? Nothing.
Oh, you can trade on their website.
Interesting.
Don't say we can't do anything. We can.
Rico, to get this is not just esports, to be clear. Marketing dollars are being pulled back in every industry right now. It's a
Yeah.
byproduct of the general recession going on, even if it's not officially labeled as one by technical standards. At the end of the day, your average American has less dollars in their pocket to spend. Inflation's hitting hard, rents are going up, everything in life is going up. Which by the way, I saw Arsh tweet about that, about saying how we're not in a recession. And he was like breaking down all like the technical factors. And like, Arsh, if you're seeing this, I love you, bro. But just go talk to people, please. Like, go talk to your average Americans that are sitting at a bar, grabbing a drink or grabbing food, and they will tell you that they are being hit harder in the economy right now, that they have less money to spend. I don't give a fuck what your economic factors say. The average American speaks faster than any numbers can provide you. People are hurting, so marketing dollars are being pulled back because people don't have discretionary funds to spend on these things. Travis can't get Alien, or no, I think he still has Alien. Whoever, I think it's just Chipotle or Grubhub. Uh, like you can't get these sponsors because there's not enough people willing to spend money on these product. Grubhub, thank you. There's not enough people willing to spend money on your code to make it viable for Grubhub to spend the marketing dollars on this. They're not getting a return on their investment. And that's being seen everywhere. We are not able to get people to buy stuff as a byproduct of our partnerships and sponsorships. Part of that because we're doing a piss poor job at promoting them. Our content is not great across the entire industry. Individual content creators are doing fine, but like the esports teams are struggling with it. And then on top of that, people just have less money to spend.
Yeah. And when one thing you can also tell is that average viewership in a lot of things goes down because people have less time, because time is money at the end of the day. At least in this type of society, it's always going to
Yeah.
be. So like people aren't going to watch as much League if they have to be, working at a job or something or worrying about something else. It's
Or
just
getting
how
a
life
second job.
goes.
I know a lot of
Yep.
people that have gotten second jobs recently to try and help
Mhm.
fund things as life becomes more expensive. And like when you may have been able to watch LCS before, that second job now takes the place of watching LCS. You'll
Yep.
catch it on VOD if you can, but even then, even then, you're not getting that second job to have more
No.
money to spend on esports. You're getting that second job to be able to pay student
Yeah.
loans and credit cards and everything else that you have going on in life.
Really, during economic downturn, the only companies that win the hardest are alcohol
Yeah,
and, and weed because people are going to start smoking more and drinking more because they're trying to forget they don't have money.
yep.
But, and yeah, I mean, it's tough because even if we're not, like, even if you're not in a recession, you're in a bad market right now. So regardless of debating what kind of market you're in or the market around it, I think a lot of companies are realizing that right now the stock market is on a thread. Like it is very close. I'm a big stocks guy and like stocks are very clearly at the point where like you can just feel it. Like people are really hoping things keep going up because at any moment if it turns down, it just feels like people are so nervous they're going to just sell because they're panicking and like black swan types. But it's part of life. Like this is kind of just how it goes, you know?
And
Like
like on top of that, even if the market did keep going up and people did return to having discretionary funds to spend on all this stuff, is that enough to make it profitable? Is that enough to actually
yeah,
turn
no.
a profit for any of these teams, barring a very select few?
Yeah, no.
It's not.
Cuz now yeah.
We're still spending too much. Like even if every
Yep.
LCS fan spent $5, it wouldn't be enough to fund it.
You have to do what either TL, TSM, or 100 Thieves are doing. Those are like the three I think of who have like websites that they either make a lot of money from, like Blitz and Liquipedia and all that, or you have 100 Thieves who I think is like what a lot of teams are going to start doing. And you've already touched on a lot, which is just making your own stuff. Like you make your own stuff, you market it, you try to cut out the middleman as much as you can. Because I mean, and the guys pioneering it, as much as we all hate to say it, is KSI and Logan Paul are making it look hella nice.
Oh my
They're
god,
making it
yeah.
look so clean. To market your own thing,
Prime
like
is Prime is killing it right now
it is.
for them, and it's like
But I
it's
hate to say
so.
it's pretty good. I like it.
Oh, you like the flavor? I haven't had the chance to try it yet.
I had fruit punch and it was so good.
Really? Better than Gatorade?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well,
damn.
I had the energy drink, not the sports drink. My bad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But the energy drink, like I had the lemon lime version and the Gatorade version, and the lime version kind of tasted like Mountain Dew to me. I liked it a lot, and the fruit punch one I liked a lot too.
I need to
But it's
try I need to try the sports drink ones because I've heard mixed thing. Like some people really like some of the flavors, some people don't, and they get very picky on it. So
mhm.
I want to try it for myself and have like an honest opinion
But I've
from my
seen a
side.
ton of army people buying it,
Really?
like Prime energy drinks, and I can tell you if there's any place in America I've seen that front runs the energy drink market,
It's the
it
army.
is Uncle Sam's Army, bro. We know what's good to get caffeine in our body before it's cool. Like Bangs was was everywhere in the army. Then all of a sudden I started seeing Bangs everywhere. Like I saw army people down in them left and right, double fisting them, and then all of a sudden people were like, "Hey, Bangs are pretty cool." And then this prime drinks come along, and people in the army are just like, just bro, just give me another. My heart will figure it out." Like I've seen people down two and then go work out. Like it's psycho, bro.
Jesus Christ. Never said you had the smartest individuals in the army.
We get the job done. That's about it.
I mean,
There's a reason there's a blood pressure epidemic in the military.
oh my god. Ugh. But yeah, like TL, 100 Thieves, TSM.
I
Beyond
think
that, it's like
C9 too is probably profitable. I'd assume.
I
I
I
don't
don't
know.
what revenue streams do they have besides
I don't know. I
sponsorships?
haven't been super deep.
Like that's the issue that I have though. Is like and nobody's given me an answer that I'm happy with either. Like the only one that I've seen is people like, "Oh, well we're going to wait on Riot to have, higher rev share or put skins in games for us, etc." It's like, okay, you keep waiting on that, and when your business flops before we ever get to that point, then I guess it is what it is, right? Like I hate to say it, and I don't think people are ready for this, but there's a clear world where in the next 2 years, 4 of these LCS teams shut their doors.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, and it's needed too, to a certain extent. It's like I I really hate to say this. It pains me. But if you're a Razer, if you're all these companies that have a very limited marketing budget, 100 Thieves is no longer an option because they're making all their own shit, which is actually technically a good thing, but also then kills some of the competition and other sponsors that you would have unless somebody wants to pay 100. Imagine like Cloud9 repping High Ground, like 100 Thieves product. That'd be hilarious. But like when you're Dignitas or Immortals, or even Golden Guardians, even though they seem to be committing to their investment somewhat. Like,
Mm.
what's the quality of the sponsors that you're getting? Because all the big dogs at the top are going to be hogging the good sponsors with the good money.
There's nothing on how C9 is profitable when I googled it. Like initial
No,
like
I didn't think they would be.
yeah. So yeah, that what you said is like my biggest worry too. It's like what happens because there's no we know LCS is profitable or like one of the only
I
leagues
think it will be
that's
next year. They said.
yeah, like so I'm not worried about LCS falling apart,
Yeah.
but it's not as fun a league when there's 3 teams operating. it's just not as fun. Or at least 3 teams that can pay players a livable wage. But
Let me address Khan's comment because I think this goes to it. Would the orgs be better off cutting off esports entirely and use that money to fund side revenues? No, because you have to pay for marketing. You need to market your product, and you need people and things to go out there and push your product so that it sells. That's what your esports teams are. Your esports teams, whether people like it or not, are purely marketing vessels. They are a way to get your product in front of 100,000 eyes when they see it on broadcast. And yes, content creators are better to a certain extent, but the content creator market is also very difficult to navigate. Your top ends are good, yes, but most of your top end content creators are also assigned to an org. And you have complexities there where, can say you want to sign like the top people in Valorant, but like a lot of the top content creators are already with other teams and they can't sign. Like, I mean, yeah, you could bring them into 100 Thieves, but like there's other like sure, you could technically cut out the esports part of it if you truly wanted to, but competition will always naturally rise. Like, esports will exist whether it's this big thing or this really tiny thing.
Yep.
Competition just always happens. What would be great is if we could just scale back.
Yeah, and it's hard to think about because it's like, how do you do it healthily, I guess?
A
But
fucking salary cap is how you do it.
I mean, yeah, a
Tell-
salary cap helps a ton.
Tell teams so as Travis Gafford revealed, there's a minimum amount that Riot has to distribute to each team each year. Even if they don't make enough money in sponsorships or other revenues to give to the teams, they have to cover it themselves. Limit teams and their professional salary between coaches and players to just the money that they are getting back from Riot.
I think too, like teams have at least LCS teams to get profitable with the players. It sounds weird, but it's not normal sports where you can sell out an arena, right? You're not using the players to sell tickets to then make all your money because there is no tickets to sell.
Exactly.
So in some ways you do have to start, it sucks to say, but they might have to start putting those like forced streaming rules on again. Like things like that, because you have to get content out from the players. Like I remember when TSM back in 2016 was making Sven Scared tweet once a week. Like he was required to tweet. It was something like that, or twice a week, and they were hilarious tweets. Like he would tweet stuff like scrims went terrible or scrims went well or have a good day today. Like he would put the most bland, terrible tweets he could, and they always banged.
Yep.
Like every tweet was pulling 10k plus likes, which is exactly what you want as an org. Like if a player wants to be petty with it, you let him be petty and you let him run, and you let him put stupid stuff because it was working. But nowadays, like, bruh, I can't think of an LCS player that could pull like that, like easily, other than DL maybe. Like DL
Yeah.
is,
Literally just
but
double it.
maybe Fudge. Fudge gets some pretty good numbers sometimes, from what I've seen. But it's like you're not getting that kind of numbers, and then even when you look at some of the ones who do, like Maple for TSM is their biggest streamer right now on the team. But there's only one issue. All his streams are in Taiwanese.
Yep.
So
And
he's
it's
pulling
not going to
1,200.
connect to
Yeah,
an NA fan base at
he's
all.
pulling 1,200 viewers a stream, but I don't know how many Taiwanese people are gonna buy a Cadillac at the end of the day with code TSM. Like, I highly doubt there's a ton of that.
Nope.
So
And
it makes you question, like, what is their logic with these teams
yeah.
in some ways too?
What value do the players actually drive? All things
Yeah,
considered.
because Boogie might be the only player we have who streams a lot, but also tries to speak English, even though he's not very good at it. And he still tries and he streams in English and he tries to talk in English and he does a really good job about it. But he's only getting like 200 viewers a stream and that's just not going to do anything. Like it's just not, sadly.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you do because I mean, I'm thinking about it and it's like either you do that or you have a hype man for your team.
I think you have a hype man. I think that's better because I agree with what Khan just said. The streaming landscape is different.
True.
You can no longer just go on Twitch without a face cam and without talking to chat and blow up. The market is too saturated. It's not
True.
going to happen. So you need to have some level of entertainment and differentiating content than just sitting there playing the game. Because somebody besides the pro players is going to be able to figure out a way to do that to much more avail.
Hmm.
And that's just the truth of the matter. And I get the upsettingness to a certain, or that's a horrible choice of words. Like if you were to cut player salaries and you were to put the salary cap in, I get it's going to piss people off, but you need to have this honest conversation with people of what value are you driving. And I
Mhm.
know that's difficult for some people to hear because you want to think we live in a world where everybody is able to just do something and provide value, but like that's not how business works. We are ultimately at the end of the day in an entertainment industry that does have to drive a profit for those involved. That's how it
Mhm.
works. And if you're not doing anything to bring in that value, sorry, you should not be getting paid an absurd amount of money. Like all of the players on uh who was the team that was used as reference? I think it was TL and like Pioshik. There's
Yep.
no way Pioshik is or any player in TL is bringing in a value of over $150,000 to the org. I highly doubt it.
No. He's not selling enough jerseys to even do that. Like a lot of these like you got to think for Patrick Mahomes to bring 50 million in value to the Chiefs. He has to do something substantial, which is sell out an arena all the time. Like you have to constantly sell out arenas. LCS isn't even selling out a
Our
200
venue.
seat
Yeah.
venue. So none of these players are bringing close. Like even all together aren't bringing in a 5 million salary like really idea if you think about it because they're not selling out that 250 person venue,
Nope.
which isn't going to be enough at the end of the day. And does it? It really isn't enough because that's two of your teams or three of them, my bad, with our new formats. That's three of your teams.
Yep.
Like bringing enough value to carry that for one weekend a year or my bad, 2 weekends a year. That is a bit more
That's
value. Add some value. But
barely.
it's just like it's really nerve-wracking because when you're looking at where esports is at with the VCs pulling out and the VCs low-key running out of money too. Like
Yep.
money to just be willing to waste. You got to wonder what happens. Like LA's not getting any cheaper. So either
Nope.
A, I mean, a cost of living in Indiana's not bad. We can always move LCS over here, just saying, and you'll be right next to the servers.
I
But
think
just an idea.
you just
But
gotta hit the fucking road. The
yeah, you
WWE
do.
the WWE would not sell out the same arena if they were there all year.
No,
They wouldn't because people
no.
like the whole appeal of the WWE is that you access the various different markets around the United States consistently. And that's what drives your value because you know that you'll
True.
probably get the WWE once a year. And you're able to monetize those people as they come out. I promise you, there's 10,000 people in most major cities in the US that would go to an LCS game.
Can teams afford to travel that much?
Probably
Think?
not at the moment, but like that's because they're also they're paying everybody else too high.
Yeah.
Like cut the cost. If Piotric's salary is 150,000 instead of say 600,000, you could afford to put in 30K in travel for the year.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference. Like you have to drop salaries to make it more realistic. You have to bring everything back down to earth for where we're at.
Yeah.
And we just keep living in this fucking world where we think that we're more valuable than we are. Like one of the biggest things that I refused to get myself in the mind frame of was like when I took that Red Bull deal for Worlds and I got 1,500 for 2 days.
Hmm.
I like a thought popped into my head for half a second was like, "Oh, I can make like I could do this pretty consistently." It's like, "No, I can't. This is a one-off thing because of Worlds." I
Yeah.
understand that I cannot drive that value for a brand consistently. So I'm probably not going to get deals and I don't have that expectation of myself. Like
Yep.
you have to be thinking about that at all times. And I get pro players just want to play, but sorry, there's more to this. It's more than just you playing the game.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, even every sport has to go through it, and it is one thing we talked about last week, like how esports is just so young. We're in this like weird mindset where players and teams want to be getting paid as much as a pro athlete, and they take it as like a badge of honor. But they're not realizing is like we're not there,
No.
and there's no reason to pretend like you're there until you like realistically you have to be there to be paying that much, and it's just not working. Now, the roadshow is an idea. We've had that for a while. We can hope it works. I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's also like they do have to find an answer at some point
Yep.
that can kind of do it because it's really weird middle ground, and it's becoming a thing that I kind of hate because it's like I love the game of League too much and watching it to want to keep having to talk about if it's going to be around. You know what I mean? I want to just watch the game in some
Yeah.
ways.
I agree.
But that's the same mindset in a way. Like not talking about it is the same reason why we're doing it now.
Yeah.
Because we did so much shut up and play. Like when people used to say shut up and just play ball. Like that's what they wanted. But you have to have absolutely psycho businessmen in the background making it work.
Yep.
And right now, like it seems like they're figuring it out at least.
Yeah.
Like somebody's putting it together. Hopefully they'll be profitable and they can keep this down. But with the viewership just tanking and it looking like a lot of teams are complaining about not having enough money, it's nerve-wracking in some ways.
Yeah.
But
I want to move on to the subtopic from this because it's somewhat related, and I want to make sure we get through tonight because I gotta get this exported now because I'm in the office tomorrow. And welcome, right well to the chat. Khan said, in a hypothetical world, the LCS wins $1 billion from the Powerball. Okay, and it's solely in the LCS. It can only be used for League of Legends esports purposes in North America. And we are now expanding to 16 teams. They create 4 hub cities to host games in 4 different divisions, and then you meet up in like a, maybe an NFL style format twice a year, etc., stuff like that. But four teams under one city. What 4 cities are you picking? And assign the current LCS teams 2 cities. At least the 10 current.
assign LCS teams. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with LA, New York. I feel like those are the two obvious
Yeah,
takes.
you have to. I think that's pretty night and day.
And then my other two is Chicago's one, I
I'm
feel
agreeing
like.
with you. Yep.
And then Atlanta. I'm really debating though between Atlanta or if I go. I don't know. I can't think of another one.
I was gonna say Miami.
Miami's not a bad idea, but I feel like Atlanta hits a broader market.
Or
That's my thing.
so you have to have one in the south. So we've got the northeast covered, we've got the
True.
north covered, we've got the west covered. You need a
Yep.
southern area to cover all corners. And I don't think you can do Toronto. I think that causes too many complications with visa issues and everything else. In a hypothetical world, sure, but I'd rather put it in Chicago. Um, I don't like Houston. I would either it's for me it's between Dallas, Atlanta, and Miami.
Ah, Dallas. Yeah, I forgot
I
Texas.
That's the thing. But here's the question, and here's where I think ultimately I'm going to side with mine as I have it now. I think I'm going to go with Miami. Uh just because it's a media mecca. You have a different style than any of the other cities that Atlanta you might be able to have. Atlanta is most convenient to the
Hmm.
entire southeast. You have North Carolina, South Carolina, which are all accessible there. You have Alabama and Louisiana, which are somewhat close-ish. Florida obviously can get there pretty easy. I think I just talked myself into Atlanta.
That's why I like Atlanta.
Yeah, I
Atlanta is
think
so close to everything.
I think
The
Atlanta
problem
makes
is,
sense.
I will say, I want this to be clear. Atlanta is a harder sell to a player than Miami.
Yeah, Miami's a real star attraction.
It is. The
But I
issue is that Atlanta is better for like building that fan base in
yeah,
the South. Like everybody can get there. Miami, you gotta really budget. You know what I mean?
yeah, you got to be very selective with it.
Now you can't
Uh
just say screw it all, do like Orlando or Tallahassee.
Orlando wouldn't be bad cuz you're putting it close to Disney too, which I think
Orlando
would
is
be
also really
interesting.
cheap to fly into. That's my logic with Orlando.
It is.
Very easy to fly to. Atlanta's a nightmare. Having done that airport, hate it. Like getting out of it with a car.
So, are we officially saying though that we're not doing a Texas team?
Yeah, I'm taking Texas off.
I think I'm gonna.
Also, I know that the joke was that you hate Canada, but I do hate Canada, and I will not give them any LCS. I'm kidding.
Paul being toxic. Why am I not surprised?
Suck it, North.
So we'll do this instead of our draft tonight because I find this to be I
Well,
find
don't
this to be
suck it,
fun.
North. I take that comment back. Someone's gonna somehow AI build me a speech of me supporting the South.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see it. So are we formally going with Atlanta?
I mean, sure, yeah.
It's
I'm good with going with Atlanta. I was gonna just say we can call them Atlanta/Miami, to be fair, but
at that point. Why don't we just put it in Tampa Bay?
yeah, I'm just going with Atlanta then, because Atlanta's like, bro, Atlanta's just so easy to pick. It's a huge city, bro.
Yeah,
There's 8 million people there.
that's true. Yeah, I think we kind of have to go with Atlanta. Uh,
Like, it's Atlanta or it's Texas to me.
that's tough.
Because you can put the games out in Gwinnett County. I know people are gonna be shocked with my knowledge of uh
Texas.
Atlanta cities, but my family lives there. So a lot of my family does. But you could put them out in like one of the counties around Atlanta
Yeah.
that are a lot easier to get to, and you still pull a stupid amount of people. Like Atlanta is just way too big for its own good.
All right, so we now have to assign teams.
And
We have to,
Silvex would appreciate this.
that he would. We have to assign the 4 LCS teams or the 10 LCS teams to cities. We won't pick the other 6, but we just have to at
All
least
right,
assign.
TSM LA. We're already done there.
Yeah, I feel like
And CLG New York.
I think TSM and 100 Thieves kind of have to be LA.
Yep.
I think they fit it too well that you can't.
You can't put TSM and MIC because they're Bay Life.
Yeah,
Bay Life was like their OG thing.
CLG
They have
is
MIC.
CLG is definitely New York.
Yep.
I'm also willing to put Team Liquid in New York because I feel like Team Liquid are like the Yankee equivalent. That it just fits well.
Yeah. Man, Cloud9's gonna be a hard one to put.
I actually don't think it's as hard as you think. I'm willing to put Cloud9 in Chicago.
Yeah, I couldn't decide. I feel like, although I just feel like they're not Chicago people.
The thing is that Cloud9 is so big that I don't think they're anything people.
Yeah,
If
because
if
maybe
we,
it's just my Midwest peeking out, but you gotta be Rust Belt to be Midwest, man.
if
Does
we
Cloud9
if we
fit
had
that?
Dallas over Atlanta, I would feel very comfortable putting Cloud9 in Dallas.
True. True. I think, yeah, Cloud9, they're not an Atlanta team. You're not
No,
wrong.
they're definitely not Atlanta.
They're not an Atlanta team.
It would have to be Chicago. Chicago makes the most amount of sense.
I kind of just want to put them in the LA squad and just have a super conference or a super division, like just a division of the old heads that just pisses people off. But like TL, TSM, 100 Thieves, and C9. 100 Thieves isn't really an old head, but they just fit there.
Here's what I'm gonna say. Hear me out. We put Cloud9 in Chicago and we put Evil Geniuses with them.
Yes, that I like.
I think that makes sense. The combination
That
of the
makes
two
sense.
together blends well with Chicago.
FlyQuest is 100% an Atlanta team.
Yeah, without a
They
doubt.
just feel like an Atlanta team. They're in Atlanta, Texas. Atlanta, Dallas, Miami team. Low key though, if we had Miami, Cloud9's a Miami team. No.
Oh, they would be. And just to clarify, chat to Crispy Pack. 1, thank you for the follow. 2, EG's parent corp is actually in Seattle. EG is paired with Seattle now as a city, which I can't say I agree with, but it is what it is.
All right.
Oh yeah, FlyQuest is now also owned by the Miami.
Yeah, so they fit exactly where we thought.
Yeah.
Cloud9 EG
Oh,
does fit
interesting.
the Rust Belt. Now where do we put the bums?
We got Immortals, Dignitas, and Golden Guardians.
I know what I said.
Immortals has to go Chicago.
I know what I called them all. I called them perfectly,
Yep,
I thought.
you did.
The bums. Where do we put the Make-A-Wish kids? Pick a city.
I think Immortals has to go to Chicago. They're the Great Lakes team. They've been pushing that. Whether it's effective or not is irrelevant. They're that team.
Oh.
That leaves Dignitas and Dignitas and Golden Guardians.
Immortals does fit there. Good.
I hate to do this, and it pains me to say this, but I think we have to put Dignitas in New York City.
I feel like we can throw them in Atlanta though.
Nah, here's my logic for New York City. They they are partially owned by the people that own the New Jersey Devils. And 2, New York always needs a really shitty sports team that diehard fans can use as their claim that they're a loyal person in their relationship. And Dignitas is that team that just like embodies like the New York helplessness
They
that
do.
so many fans need. Like the Mets had that for years. The Jets are that now. The Knicks have been that forever. Like
Yep,
it's just like it just fits.
it does. Go dig to there and Golden Guardians to Atlanta. I just feel like GGS fits Atlanta.
They do, and they're very heavily involved with like the melee scene as well. So like that actually makes
Oh,
sense.
they are, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a solid list overall.
TL FlyQuest is a good rivalry. I don't know.
But it's not
To
about
be
it being a
honest.
good rivalry. That's not the point. The point is like the teams fitting in the cities
I just thought
that they're in and filling
FlyQuest
a niche.
fit. FlyQuest and Golden Guardians to me fit Atlanta because they're like when Golden Guardians first came around, they were that team that kept making these pushes and disappointing.
Yep.
And that's just an Atlanta thing to do. And then FlyQuest had 2 seasons in a row where they got second place. And if that's not Atlanta, that's I don't know what is.
I feel really good about LA. I think TSM 100 Thieves being in
Oh,
LA is
GGS
like
is owned by the Golden State Warriors.
they are, but let's be honest. How many people are actually fans of Golden Guardians?
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Exactly. Like I
I'm
don't care.
looking at chat.
Like I will take who you are owned by if it actually carries weight. But it does in this situation, given how small they are and how little Golden State actually has, like how little they've been able to capitalize on fans in that area. I don't take any weight into it. It's the same thing with like Team Liquid is technically owned by like the Washington Capitals conglomerate, but yet they have very few like fans in like the DC area. So
In my C was TSM Dig CLG. That's a fun division though. No.
it's fun, but I don't see.
I could see it because TSM's the Yankees.
And their original house was in New York, but I just don't think that matches anymore. Like I think that's a perception of like old TSM that could fit in New York, but they're not anymore.
I think TSM Chicago would just make sense.
I don't see anywhere but LA as being the TSM spot.
I know, but it's just Chicago only fits them to me because it's the Rust Belt, you know? That, think about it. Abusive dad, abusive owner, it just comes together, and there you go.
Oh my god, you said it.
What?
You're not wrong. Not
Like,
wrong.
it just comes together, and you just, it's the right people. But the problem is too much winning. Like, way too much winning. The Midwest does not ever have that much winning.
Agreed. I want to fill this out. I want to take this a step further, and then we'll end the podcast because I really need to upload this. We need to fill out the remaining division teams within each city, and I will start by putting Mr. Beast
In Atlanta.
Beast Gaming in Atlanta. Yeah.
Because he's from North Carolina.
Yep.
Just fits. Alright.
I think you put FaZe Clan in LA.
Yeah, you put FaZe in LA. Why, is FaZe buying a spot?
No, I'm just like nobody. This is just purely hypothetical at this point. I'm
Mhm.
just like orgs that could come in.
Beast goes there. FaZe Clan goes there.
Atlanta FaZe is bullshit, by the way. Like nobody's actually fans of Atlanta FaZe. They're an LA org over anything else. I'm gonna put Optic in Chicago because that was their home city.
Trying to think. LA, you should put Disguised Toast Gaming.
This guy's
DSG
Sure,
is LA.
yep. DSG. That makes sense. Sentinels in New York City.
I like that.
Really?
I like it.
You like New
I
York?
like Sentinels
You
there.
like New York City over Atlanta for Sentinels?
Ooh. That's a good point, though. The more we
Okay,
talk
well-
about it.
Well, hear me out. We need one other org as well. I would say Moist Esports should be the other one.
Moist Esports.
That's Ludwig and like all of that content creator group. And I think you put them in New York City so that you have a content creator group in New York and a content creator group in LA.
Can we move Cloud9 to LA
And put who in Chicago?
and then put Moist Esports in Chicago? Because I feel like Moist Esports just fits the middle. Just a bunch of morons. You're telling me
Where
Moist?
does DSG go? Where's this guy's
I think
host
we
go?
get rid of him.
Okay.
I think we get rid of
Okay.
him for Moist Esports, and we
Fuck it.
try to think of a last team for Atlanta.
We need Atlanta and New York City.
Oh, you're right.
I'm sorry, but
fits-
Complexity does not have the fiscal backing to make it into this league. Sorry. They don't
G2 for NYC. You're welcome.
Oh,
It's too easy.
Good call. Good call. Holy shit.
It's too easy.
And yes, Optic does. Optic has more fit. Optic has way better backing right now than Complexity does.
Because we have $1 billion, we should just pay G2 to come over.
Exactly. We're fine. And G2 wants to come over anyways.
Yeah. That or we just take. Hear me out. Even if G2 doesn't want to come, we just take Ocelot and let him build a team of just absolute
No.
psychopath
No.
rage roll.
No, absolutely not. I think
Instead of G2, they'd be called the Andrew Taters.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, dude. Not after Aiden Ross and all his bullshit, please. We need one final team for Atlanta. Are we going Sentinels or are we going somebody else?
The Atlanta team. I think we try to get. Well, never mind.
Or do we move FaZe Clan down to Atlanta and put Sentinels in LA?
Ooh, DSG in LA.
Oh, so you're putting Disguise Toast back in and you're shifting FaZe Clan down to Atlanta.
Yeah, shift FaZe Clan down to Atlanta and then Disguise Toast in LA. Doesn't that kind of like clean it up a little bit?
It does. So just to review this, let me talk it through so it sounds good, and you let me know if you disagree.
Mhm.
LA is TSM, 100 Thieves, Disguised
Yeah.
Toast Gaming, Cloud9. New York City would be CLG, Team Liquid, Dignitas, and G2. Chicago would be Moist, Evil Geniuses, Immortals, and Optic, with a slight rivalry between those two, interestingly enough. And Atlanta would be FlyQuest, Golden Guardians, Beast Gaming, and FaZe Clan.
Yes.
I think that's balanced. I think you have two heavy hitters in every single region.
I think I like the LA spot a lot because we put kind of the streamer orgs mixed with the just old heads that owned the city, right?
Yeah.
Like Cloud9 and TSM. And then for NYC, you just have the Yankees mindset team. Well, kind of two of them, Team Liquid and G2. And then for the other two, you just have like that
That faith.
New
that
York
New
City,
York City
yeah.
like
vibe. And then the Chicago one just makes sense to me. I don't even think you need to explain it. It's just
no,
like
I think it's
that is Rust
yeah.
Belt. That is Rust Belt to a T. Like adding Optic, I just love them in there because it's just like, can you imagine the Moist Esports fans versus the Optic fans? Like 4 times a year, just going at it,
It'd be
raw hate,
great.
just hating on each other. And then Atlanta's just Atlanta, bro. All those teams seem like Atlanta teams to me.
And you just have two powerhouse with Beast and FaZe, and then you just
Yep.
have two teams that like actually like if FlyQuest keeps up their ways now, like that's actually they're a legit contender despite not having the hype.
What I like about it too is like FaZe and GGS kind of take that like rude mentality that you need, and then FlyQuest and Beast Gaming are like that nice mentality,
Yep.
and that's Atlanta to a T. Like there's the nice people and the absolute just jerks, and that's the beauty of it. Like I
I
don't know,
like looking at this now makes me really want this to happen.
it'd be cool.
It'd be so damn cool.
It would.
Oh man.
I just can't decide. Like I will. I mean, I would obviously, if I had the decision making, I'd put TSM in Chicago just because I want them in driving range.
Yeah, but I think if you're
They make
looking
more
at
sense in LA.
they 100% make more like I think this is insanely balanced all
Mhm.
around. Like I don't think there's a single city that I look at and say, "Yeah, you are handicapped relative to the others."
Yeah. Well, like what I like too is that I feel like TSM and CLG have that rivalry in a sense that like putting them on opposite sides of the country with that Celtics like Lakers vibe
Yep.
is just beautiful. Like
When you get
making
like
them
the
hate
cross
each other.
conference play too, it just like
Yes.
really heats up that rivalry.
Because like you don't like it's a weird fine line. There's like that there's a really good thing about playing your rival only so much.
Yeah.
Because you spend so much time waiting to beat them again that when it comes you just hate them even more. And that's why I think it matters. And it doesn't matter how long I'm a TSM fan or like who is supposed to be our rival.
Yeah.
I will always hate them more than anybody else.
You know what's actually kind of interesting? You could make
Hmm.
this schedule work very easy too.
Yeah, you could
Cuz
low key
you
just do it football style.
if you do 20 games for each team like or you know, whether it's 20 best of ones or whatever you want to do. You do it's 12 games against non-conference teams, and then if you double up, that's 6 games there, that's 18 games total. That's
Yeah.
the entire split.
Yeah, because you could. I mean, just thinking about it, you could do what? 6, 12. You could do 24 games. So up it to 24 and then do 6 games. Like in whatever faction you got to do them. Like just super weeks every week, essentially.
Yeah.
But maybe double up games somehow. I don't know how they'd have to do it, but you could up the amount of games to make it fit. You
Yeah.
really could.
Cuz the biggest thing is you want the conference games to matter a lot.
Hmm.
So you need like for playoffs, the top 2 in each conference get out for an 18
Yep.
bracket. But you need to make sure like CLG plays Team Liquid at least twice, but you only want them playing against everybody else, and you don't even have to play against every other team in the
You
division.
don't.
You can
Yep.
realistically
In
cut
the
some
league.
out
Yeah.
too, and then save that for like okay, say we don't ever see TSM play against FlyQuest, or that's a shitty example. We don't ever see TSM or CLG play each other. Which I
Yep.
think that would be that's also a horrible example. 100
No, it
Thieves,
would.
no, because
That's a
you'd
good
you
point, though. So you just
you'd
have to
want to
skip it some years, some
yeah.
splits.
I mean that's not a problem, but at the same time, like there's certain matchups that I want to make sure that they're always there, even if they are outside of conference, like TSM COG. But like 100 Thieves G2, I don't think the two of them need to play each other every year.
Well, then just call it what? Call it the Corners Conference and the Inners Conference. I don't know. You have to
Uh,
think of a better name, obviously. But like I'm saying, you could say LA and NYC are the same conference, and then what? Chicago and Atlanta are.
yeah,
So you play your conference, like you play every conference team once. So TSM and CLG have to play, and then XYC the rest. But that's kind of tough too. I don't know how you'd do it. I'm sure if it was our job, we'd figure it out.
I mean, if you want to truly keep best of ones and keep the format as is, then you just double up in your division and a single game against everybody else, and then you keep the exact same amount
Yeah.
of games that you're currently playing, but you have to expand the broadcast slightly because we now have 16 teams instead of 10 that are doing that. So how many extra games is that?
I mean, they should all play it. different days though, right?
I mean, you would think. But I mean, the nice thing about this though is that because we're in different cities, uh that's also interesting because it's like on travel weekends, you could make it so that you're only playing from two cities. Like one like LA visits Chicago. And
Hmm.
then the teams play against each other in those conferences. And like
Well, I was. Oh, go on. Sorry.
I was gonna say, so like the conference weekends, you do it where like obviously every team's playing from their own individual city against their inner city rivals. But then when it's road weekends, you only have to have it at two locations. So like all of the LA teams are faced up against the New York City team for the weekend, and like you play three there, and like that's 1 weekend of conference games, and then the next year it flips. You play like LA versus NYC in
Yeah,
NYC, but you play different teams, and you can swap it out consistently.
that does make sense.
So like it's only when you're playing or your interdivision games that you're gonna have four cities ongoing at one time. But
Yep.
anytime it's interconference, you have two at one time, and you could really build those up to be bigger events.
So you'd what? Play the 6 games in your conference or in your division,
Yeah,
and then you play every other team once.
yeah,
So there'd be what? 4, 8, 12. So it'd be 18 games.
yeah.
Same amount.
And then you
Yeah.
like the weekend that you're traveling on the road, you just make it a super weekend where
Yeah.
you play or well no because you got to play four teams in the other division. You will I get no you can keep well I guess
There'd be
it
a way to figure it out. Like,
yeah
there'd be a way. It would. What you could do is 2 weeks. So, 2 weeks in a row, you play like. What you would do essentially is like, let's say you make it a 9 week schedule. So week 1, you play however many games in your own conference. Like you all just stay home and play versus each other. And then week 2, you travel to one place, the other team travels to another. You play them over there. You play 2 games. You knock out 2 of them. You go back home. They come to your place, and they play you
true
guys.
true
Then week 4, you guys play interconference again. Knock out 2 more games. Then you travel again. Then in conference, travel. Boom, we're done. That's the whole season,
that's
and
brilliant.
that's all of it.
And then
Boom, we
you
just made a schedule for this.
and
Boom.
the best part about this too, which I kind of like and it would be really interesting, is like we're talking about it from the perspective of it's what 18 games per split. I mean,
Mhm.
that's to be fair, that is a lot of travel expense to get everybody like traveled to those. But I'm assuming like at that point, like you have stations set up in each city that it's like,
Oh yeah.
hmm,
Well, you could also. This is gonna sound wacky because you're kind of requiring it on the teams, but you could put a grant right for every team that has to be in that city. So Riot gives them a grant or something, and then in the grant essentially forces them when building their practice facilities, they have to build room for the other team.
yeah, you have to have like a guest
Yeah, a
facility.
guest facility or something.
That
Because
would
it's
be
not like the
interesting.
NFL where they can just go to a college or something.
Yeah,
We aren't that big yet. But there should be a place they could get to go.
bro, this would be so hype.
This
And
would be pretty
imagine
cool.
imagine every weekend. Or not even like every weekend, like obvious because some weekends you are on the road, so there will be some off weekends. But for the most part, like
Hmm.
if you want to see LCS in New York City, like you get it
Yeah.
consistently.
And with this, they're only traveling 3 times. It's not really that expensive for the teams.
The thing is just the startup cost to get
Oh, yeah.
all four
Oh,
major
yeah.
cities built out is going to be tough. That's a lot.
Very true. Although you
And
could probably work out some deals with some local theaters.
no, I'm not even saying
If
the theater. I'm saying like all the players and
Oh,
shit.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
and
To move there.
the org or like the team facilities and everything else. Like that's tough.
Oh, I bet though. Well, team facilities would be hard, but I'm saying I bet you could get the players, man. You only need 80.
Yeah.
80 players? That's easy. I can find 80 dudes who are hungry enough to want to
True.
play League. Granted, will some teams go 0-9? Like,
Yeah.
there's one team in the league right now. Not gonna name names,
I mean, you look at
but
the
you are being
you look at the
watched.
LPL, and they have a bunch of teams that are sitting at like the bottom of the standings with shit
hmm
records. So that happens.
I mean, it does happen. Those Great Lakesers are gonna go through some ups and downs, but they're used to it. They have the Lions.
Jesus. Anyways,
Some people were
I
born for that moment.
I gotta wrap this up and get this exported, and
I
get it
do
ready
want
to
to say
upload.
it's funny when TSM is a top 4 team. We start talking about the future for a podcast again. We
True.
start daydreaming. It's
True.
crazy.
Things get more optimistic when TSM's playing well. Noted. I agree.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yep.
I will.
Thank you everybody for tuning in today. Thank you for putting up with our shit the entirety of today. That might have been Con. Thank you for that sub question because that was legitimately so much fun
Oh
to
yeah.
do. I love that. To those that are subscribed, be sure to stop by on Saturday. We're doing a sub giveaway. I'm giving away 2 skins in League of Legends of your choice. You get to pick them if you win. The catch is we're gonna hop into games, depending on how many people we have, and the person who gets, like, if we're gonna do draft, and whoever gets the highest or lowest of whatever stat I pick that you will not know until the game is done gets the
Damn
skin.
it.
So it is completely random.
What's it gonna be?
I'm not saying. I haven't even looked myself yet. I'm just gonna pull up
Oh my gosh.
one of my post game things and just look at all the different stats and just pick one out at random.
Wait, somebody gifted me a sub again.
Maybe.
No, I'm like subbed again.
Nice. So you can get this.
Boom!
You can technically get the skin if you want. You just have
Yeah,
to
I
show
was
up.
about to sub so I could try to get the skin. But wait, it's on Saturday?
Saturday.
Ugh, I work.
Okay, not my problem. All right,
Whatever. When I'm back home, I'm getting every single skin giveaway. I hope
every
everybody knows that.
everybody. I hope you have a good one. I really gotta end this. Adios.
Oh, okay. Love you,
Bye bye.
Boogie.